Hey, by the way, Courtney's filming this.
Hello.
Everyone say thanks to Courtney for helping us out.
Thanks, Courtney. We love you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Phil. Welcome to Pretty Good Cooking.
Pretty good.
Today and tomorrow, and maybe even the next day, because this is a multi-day filming session, we're going to teach you how to make venison jerky. There's a picture of jerky. I'm very excited to have some venison to work with because one of my friends is an avid bow hunter. If you're not familiar with bow hunting, that means he sits in the woods at all hours of the night waiting to ambush a deer. So he had some success this year. I was very generous. But he knows I like to cook, and so I'm gonna do some experiments with jerky. So here's my venison that I'm working with today. You can see it's labeled not for sale, as it is not for sale. It is evidently illegal to sell this stuff, so don't get any ideas. And this is shoulder, so it's a big muscle, big cut of muscle. For jerky, we will be slicing this up and marinating it in order to give it a little bit more fun flavor. All right, so let's take a look at this. I actually have not seen this before. Let's see what this looks like. It'll probably be a little bit of blood or myoglobin or whatever you want to call it. It looks to me, oh, this is actually a bone-in cut. Interesting. So that's a rib. It's almost like a porterhouse. I wonder if this is good for what we're doing. Well, I think you can make jerky out of any cut of meat, to be honest, so we'll just roll with it. I weighed this before taking it out of the paper, so this is about 1 pound, 12 ounces of meat. I would like to apologize for my dogs. Vinny's had some problems lately. He's just struggling with life. So that's what you're listening to right now, is Vinny being mad at life. Alright, so I don't know enough about the anatomy of deer to tell you where this came from. It was labeled as shoulder, so I assume it came from the shoulder. But because we have some bones, we are gonna try to trim that up a little bit. And I can just trim as much meat off the bone as possible. I'll probably save these bones and I make stock out of them. So I'm gonna be trimming for a little bit. Basically, I'm gonna get the meat off the bone. Okay, so I got the meat off the bone and then I trimmed it up a little bit so it's all like silver skin and fat. Silver skin is connective tissue. I think it's the fascia that'll kind of like hold your body together, or the body of the animal. And so I basically just have chunks of meat now, and it's at this point that we will slice it into jerky slices. And I may do a little bit more trimming as we go. Probably won't show you every single piece, but what I do want to show you is looking at the grain of the meat. So this one in particular, you can see that the muscle fibers run this way. It's really obvious here. You can see those lines. So because I like more tender beef jerky, I don't like it to be, so hard to chew that you can injure your mouth, I'm gonna be slicing it against the grain. So against the grain means perpendicular to those lines. So this is relatively thin meat, so we don't really need, until we get to the thicker part, we actually probably can just slice it like so. Some of these cuts I'm gonna do on an angle, so I'm using my knife at a diagonal angle, basically just try to get some chunks. And these are gonna be like fairly small bites of jerky, which is okay. I'm not doing a huge batch. I've got plenty of room on my dehydrator, so no major concern there. Now, if you're doing this with a larger piece of muscle, then you might want to think about it a little bit more. It's very beef-like, so I'm just continuing to get strips, various sizes, which all be pretty good. So I'll show you guys what it looks like when we are done. I'll just be slicing away. Alright, so here's my bag of meat. Looks like a pound of meat. Oh, a little over a pound. Alright, so we're gonna make a marinade. This is a cidered marinade, which I'm experimenting with because I like the taste of apple cider vinegar. But this will also tenderize the meat a little bit, which will be nice. Sometimes venison can be a little bit tough. So I need about a quarter cup apple cider vinegar. Then we will add some Worcestershire cider sauce. This is for flavor. That's what you use it for. I don't have enough based on the recipe that I'm loosely following because I put it on the shopping list.
You didn't say I had to get everything.
And Cody didn't get it.
I didn't know. It was a Target run.
It's really okay. That's totally fine. And it's really not a big deal because if you run out of this stuff, you can just use soy sauce. So I'll add some soy sauce. And I'm gonna add a little bit of water because I'm gonna dilute the vinegar and put too much in. All right. Next up, we are going to add some brown sugar. Brown sugar is often used to give some sweetness to the jerky. I don't really like super sweet stuff, so we're just going to add a tablespoon-ish. But we might tweak it at the end because, you know, you gotta taste. It's good to taste the marinade because you're gonna have jerky that tastes like it. Next up will be some garlic. You can just add some. I would say like a half teaspoon or a teaspoon, depending on how garlicky you like things. And then our umami powder is gonna make this really fun. So this will add even more savoriness. I just think this tastes great. So we're gonna add a teaspoon mushroom powder. We will add some salt. 1 teaspoon. If you have smoked salts or fancy salts, this is a good application for them. We're gonna add some black pepper. That makes things taste nice. And then, in order to get some smoky flavor, we're gonna add some flat iron dark and smoky. So these are chipotle, ancho, and habaneros. I like jerky with a little bit of spice. We're not gonna go crazy with this stuff, but we'll just add just a little bit. You can see we've got some nice smoked chili. So just a little bit of that to pump up the flavor. Give that a mix. And it's not that fun to do this, but you should taste it. Tastes great. To me, it tastes kind of like jerky. So we're on the right track. I don't really feel like it needs anything. It's good. Okay, so we're gonna pretty much end for today. So we're gonna pour our marinade. You can see I did a bad job. So if that happens, just swirl around the water. And to me, it looks like what got left behind is some salt. So I'll just add a little more salt, no problem. And then we're going to do our best to remove almost all the air from the bag. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you wanted to vacuum pack it, you could, I suppose. Sounds like a lot of work for not that much reward. And then we'll work the marinade into the bag, like so, into the venison. And because I made too much marinade, basically, I'm not worried about it. There's plenty of marinade in there. That should be great. And I happen to have this handy dandy container here, which I used previously. And so we will let that marinate overnight. So that's it for day 1 of our experiment. Day 2 will be very exciting because I will take these pieces of deer and put them one by one on a rack, and then we'll turn on the dehydrator. And maybe it'll be done tomorrow. I don't know. So we'll see you then. By the way, I'm refrigerating this. Hey, good morning. It's the next day. I'm drinking coffee and here's the marinated meat. I'm scratching my head and I'm laughing about something. Look at my busted dehydrator lid. That's right, it's busted. But it's fine. You know why? Because there's already holes in it. The dehydrator works by having heat go up and it spreads it around, blows it around with a little fan. Then you put the food on the racks and you stack them up in a geometric fashion. No matter how many times I do this, I never get the stacking right on the first time. So, there's that. There it is. It's true. Big if true. Alright, let's start distributing the meats. Oh, nope, I'm still figuring out how to stack. Yeah. Okay, so here's the meat in the bag. We're gonna drain it. I'm gonna drain it by squeezing the bag of meat until the juice comes out. Yep, that's what I did. Kind of looked like I just dumped the meat into the sink. I didn't do that. I spent quite a bit of time drying these pieces of meat with a paper towel, because I read that helps it dry faster. That's completely pointless. I recommend completely skipping this step. I actually have made another round of jerky since. Oh, I'm telling Courtney to get closer. Yeah, you don't need to do that. You can actually just totally skip that, and it really does make a whole lot of difference. I think it's because my dehydrator heats up relatively quickly. But also venison's pretty lean, so I don't feel like it really holds that much moisture anyways. So we're spreading out the venison. We're trying to make sure there's a little bit of room in between each strip, with the idea that they will dry more completely that way. Here I go, batting it with a paper towel. Really, you don't need to do this. But I did. And then we put the lid on, and we're going to take it to the basement, where I'll be running the dehydrator on top of our freezer. There's the dogs. Alright, here's the basement. I don't have to explain that deer. Kind of forgot how funny it is that that deer will be watching the venison dry. But anyways, the jerky has to go at least 4 hours. That's what the safety people say, good safety people. And we'll check it throughout the day because we didn't know how long it would take. So we'll be back. All right, it's later in the day or the next day. I don't really know. It was cold, so I put on a hoodie. But the jerky's done. Check it out. There's some nice strips of venison jerky. And I'm demonstrating here that you can test if they're done by snapping one. We'll give it a taste. Tastes good. So the primary flavor for this batch was vinegar, because I accidentally used too much vinegar in that marinade. When I made subsequent batches, I really toned down the vinegar and I cranked up the chili flake and made it real spicy. It tasted real good. It's really lean, so the texture is different. And we're back. We don't have to do it again, you said?
You can.
Ah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see how much jerky we actually ended up with. All in all, we got 5.3 ounces, which I'm pretty sure jerky is normally sold in 5-ounce bags. So that's a reduction about 2/3, a little bit over 2/3. And you can just store them in a bag. If you see any ones that have fat that you missed trimming, here's a good example. So that's like fat that was left on there. That will spoil faster than the regular jerky. So my advice is just eat those pieces first. It'll still taste good. And if you wanted to get real excited, you could vacuum seal this. So that's a jerky. There's a little baggie of it. I think it's fun. It's not like it was hard. I guess jerky's pretty expensive, so like, I don't know. Again, if you got free venison, which is the only legal way you can get it, maybe this is a good recipe for you. I think in the future, we'll probably try more jerky recipes. I was really conservative on the chili flake. I think next batch I want to make some spicy jerky. That sounds good to me. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this experiment. We'll do it again sometime. Okay, bye. That's how you do it.
Nope, try it again. Go.
And that's how you do it. Okay, bye.